So today, I wanted to talk to you about the PROTECT formula and tell you a few stories about it and what it is and why I created it, and give you a couple more Dr. Schulze stories that you probably don't know. And so it all, the PROTECT formula is something that I actually designed and made and utilized in my clinic, but I never really pushed it. And then when my clinic was closed and I had created American Botanical Pharmacy with Adam, we only brought about 35 of the 500 formulas I made in my clinic online, and in the last couple years we've been bringing many more of them online, and our goal is over the next couple years to bring maybe 30, 40 more of the formulas, make them available to everybody. So today is really all about the PROTECT formula, and I want you to know what it is and what it's about, and tell you a few good stories. And I'd like to start with, last year at some time I got a phone call and I was asked to speak at a seminar. Now that in and of itself isn't that unusual, except that this seminar was about how to kill people. In fact, kill them very quickly. So it was a strange call, because that's really not my line of business, as you know, is to help people heal themselves very quickly. But this was a group of people that train the Navy SEALs. They're a private contractor that train Navy SEALs. They train most of our military elite, like Special Forces. They teach all the three-lettered government agencies like the FBI and the CIA and the DOJ and the DEA. And they train them basically in what happens when you're out of bullets, you're tied up, and to save the world from a terrorist, you got to make something happen right now. So they teach these people how to fight in a way that you or I never want to know about. And basically how to kill people very quickly to protect themselves, to protect many other people. And that's what this seminar was about. And I was asked to speak there. And so I asked them why, and there was one reason I suspected. One of the reasons is because I actually trained with the founders of this system many years ago, when I was in my late 20s. I trained with the people who eventually developed this system. It was the descendants of the Bruce Lee School, and Bruce Lee, of course, his school was here in California. The other reason is because they thought that my program matched their program. And their program was basically, when you're out of bullets, out of knives, cornered, have extreme odds against you, and you're going to die, they would teach you how to survive, thrive, and win in this situation. And they said, my system of healing is basically when everybody's told you that you're going to die, the medical doctors say, go home, you can't be well, there's nothing we can do, the odds are impossible. That I tell people all the time, the odds aren't impossible. In fact, there's 1,000 things that you can do to heal yourself. And they said, don't you see, you're teaching our system. And I thought about it, and I thought, they're right. We're both teaching systems in emergency situations. When everybody's saying it's impossible, we're saying, no, it is possible, and you can win. Of course, their training is very different than my training, but we have the same philosophy. In fact, when I looked on their website, lo and behold, they had talked about me. And they said that I was basically training people in their system of healing. But theirs is a system of survival and fighting against terrorists, and mine was a system of survival and fighting against disease. But I realized we were very similar. So I went for a day and studied their system in the seminar, and then the next day I taught my system of healing using all of their technology and terminology. And it was really fun because they could easily understand what I was talking about. Now you got to imagine that these people were some of the toughest people in the universe. I mean, these are the kind of people that make bombs out of toothpaste. You've seen it on TV in the movies. I mean, these are killers, okay? And I basically started by addressing the room and all these people and letting them know that suppose I knew something that was going to come to your house and kill your parents and kill your kids and kill your wife or husband and kill you. And boy, did you see a group of very tough people, very scary people, look very nervous when I spoke to them that way. And I said, well, I do know something, but it's not what you're expecting, because these people have trained their whole life to be able to defeat anybody. And I said, I do know something that's going to come to your house and kill every member of your family and you. And it's disease. And it's going to get you all eventually. And so I got their attention. And really what I started explaining to them was my system for combating disease, for fighting against disease, for winning your health back when you're faced with disease. Now, all the people in this room felt that they could handle just about every horrible situation that you could imagine that could happen to you in life, but they had no idea how to handle a horrible situation that might come with the diagnosis of a medical doctor. And so I started to explain to them the Dr. Schulze system. Now, the system that they were training was called Rapid Assault Tactics, the RAT. And it's how to kill people as quickly as possible when you're unarmed. I taught them the Dr. Schulze RAT, which was a system that most of you know. It's what to do when a doctor tells you that you have a life-threatening disease, that you may have days or hours to live, and that there's nothing that can be done. And so we know that system is everything. Everything we do, from superfood to bowel cleansing to building up our immune system to the bowel detox and the liver detox and the kidney detox. And all our individual specific formula. It's the 5-day detoxes, it's the Incurables program, it's the 30-day detox. And what the founders realized was I had rapid assault tactics for disease. They had rapid assault tactics against terrorists. I've always looked at disease as like a terrorist, and in fact I've called it that in many articles I've written, and this is why I fit right in with this elite organization, just in a little bit of a different way. And so I talked to them about healing diseases. Another reason they asked me to come and speak is because many of the people in the organization had already used my programs and found that they were rapid assault tactics against disease. In fact, one of them was very sick himself and healed himself using our programs. Another one there says his brother was told by medical doctors that he would be dead soon with liver disease, and he did our liver detox and our 30-day program. And so it was exciting to hear how many of these people already knew about me because they had used the Dr. Schulze RAT, the Dr. Schulze Rapid Assault Tactics, to heal themselves or their loved ones. And so, wow, what a fun day it was for me there. And it reminded me a lot of the clinic, because when I was in my clinic, this is what I did, especially in the last decade or last 10 years of my clinic. I mostly worked with terrorist diseases, diseases that when a doctor tells you you have it, you're pretty much dead. The prognosis is you'll be dead in a month or two. All doctors agree to that. You feel horrible. You can look in the medical books and there's no cure for these diseases. And this is what I did in the last decade of my practice as I took on the incurables, the worst of the worst, the people with heart disease so bad they couldn't even get out of their cars and walk up 3 steps to my clinic, the people with cancer that had metastasized through their entire body. This was where I developed Dr. Schulze's rapid assault tactics against degenerative disease. neurological diseases, diabetes, arthritis, Alzheimer's, all the many hundreds of diseases that doctors say there's no cure for. And when I was working in the clinic with these people, many people came to see me, and as they said, is there anything that you can do to help my mother? She's not going to come and see you. She's not going to drink juice. She's not going to start exercising. She's overweight. And I said the same thing to them that their doctors had said to them. No, there's nothing that can be done. And after saying that about 20 or 30 times to patients and writing off their lazy-ass relatives who wouldn't eat right, think right, drink right, move their asses, lose a few pounds, and get well, I realized I was saying the same thing the medical doctors had said to my patients. There's no hope. There's nothing that can be done. Sorry. And I thought, I'm no better than these MDs that are giving all this horrendously bad information to my patients, telling them they can't heal themselves from alateral sclerosis and Lou Gehrig's disease and myasthenia gravis and leukemia and dementia and Alzheimer's disease and diabetes. The medical doctors had told all my patients they couldn't be well, and I'm telling them they can be well, but I'm telling them their relatives can't be well. And it never felt good. So after a little bit of time of doing this, I realized I know herbs that can protect people in spite of what they do, no matter what they do. I know herbs that can protect you. And I started giving my patients these herbs, not only for them, because they were at death's door, but also for their relatives that wouldn't do anything. As I said, they wouldn't eat right, they wouldn't change their food programs, they wouldn't even drink juice. Forget exercising, these people wouldn't get out of bed. They were on unemployment, lying in bed, watching soap operas, drinking maybe Diet Coke was the best thing that they were doing. They weren't healthy people. And I started getting these people on this formula, and it first stopped the progression of their disease, but secondly, protected them while they were trying to kill themselves on a daily basis. And so I really developed some program, and I really developed an herbal formula for all the people we love that won't live right. And I used it in the clinic, and I'm just thrilled that we finally got it together with American Botanical and put it together, and we're releasing it now. So that's really what I want to talk to you about today, is that, yeah, Dr. Schulze is a disease anti-terrorist natural healing cosmonaut. That is my speciality. And that's why I was asked to teach at this event, because give me any of the worst diseases that exist on this planet, and I can show you multiple people that have made them disappear and go away by changing their lifestyle and doing my programs. And so that's who I am. But I'm also this other guy that has developed powerful herbal formula for people that won't do anything. And it's not what I want to do, but we all know those people. We all know people. Often it's our parents, could be aunts and uncles. Sometimes it's our brothers and sisters, and sometimes it's our kids that are sick and unwell. We know they're a ticking time bomb, is what I like to call it. We know it's just a matter of time. We can stick our head in the sand like an ostrich, but we know it's just a matter of time before they blow up. And is there something we can do? And that's what the Protect formula is about today. Let me give you a few disease and death facts, because they're always overwhelming to me when I hear facts such as these. One of the first numbers that's always mind-boggling to me is this last year and this last election for a new president has been a lot about the current war in Iraq. And when we researched that, we found that not quite 5,000 people have died in the whole war. Now, I've always said that's 5,000 too many, and you all know that I am not a fan or a believer in war is the best way to solve anything. But that's a lot of people, 5,000. And in Vietnam, we lost 50,000. But if you add up that 5,000 and that 50,000, and then you also add up all the people that died during the war when I was born in Korea, and you also add up everybody that died in World War II, and you also include everybody that died in World War I, and the Spanish-American War, and the American Civil War, and the War of 1812, and even the American Revolution, you won't even come close to the amount of people that will die just this year from heart and circulatory disease. I mean, isn't that amazing? In 1 year, we'll lose more than everybody that's ever died in this country fighting in any war. And look at how horrendous all those wars have been for America and the world. And if we look at these numbers, one of the things I like to do is look at them because they make us realize what a big problem we have. I know that most of us sitting in this room don't think about dying. I know that a couple of you do because you've had a brush with it. And that's wonderful. As you know, that's the greatest blessing there is because we live our lives differently. We use that big nudge to get us off the path we were on and onto an exciting new way of living. And so these numbers are important. The reality is most of the people you know are going to die from heart disease, from heart attacks, from strokes, from circulatory disease. In fact, if you add up every other disease known, 600,000 people will die of cancer this year. And on top of that, we'll lose tens of thousands more to all the diseases, from diabetes to Alzheimer's, to every other disease known. And then add in car crashes and drug overdoses and alcoholism and electrocution and suicide and depression. And if you add up the deaths from all diseases known, from cancer on down, and all the ways that you can die from car accidents to drugs and alcohol to suicide to drowning, you won't come up to the number that'll die this year from that one cause of death again, which is heart disease, circulatory disease, and strokes. It adds up to more than every other cause of death combined. It's big. That's the idea I wanted you to get, is it's big. And chances are the majority of the people that you know and love will die from this disease. Heart disease, heart attacks, circulatory disease. Wow. Okay, so heart disease, heart attacks. I've been surprised, you know, I'm watching this new beach show on television. I record it and watch it and cut out the commercials, and they filmed it on Miami Beach. And it's amazing how many people have heart attacks on the beach. I mean, everywhere you go now, they have defibrillators. I joined a club in Florida, and there must be 50 defibrillators on the premises because so many people are just falling over and dropping dead. So heart disease is a very serious issue, and I wanted to, and I know herbs that can stop us and stop our relatives and our loved ones from having heart attacks. The number 2 cause of death in America is cancer. I already said 600,000 people will die this year of cancer. It's pretty much the odds, if you were to talk to an insurance man, that if your friends and loved ones don't die from heart or circulatory disease or heart attacks and strokes, they're going to die from cancer. We know it's the other big killer out there: prostate cancer, breast cancer, lung cancer, brain cancer. Cancer has riddled our society for a lot of reasons. I know the cure for cancer: stop doing all the things that cause it. I have spoke for years about cancer. You want to know who's causing cancer? Just look at the Dow Industrials, the economy of America. Everything we use and touch just about, from the fire retardants in our computer chassis and laptops to brake dust in the road, to additives in the food, water, and air. Just about everything is around us is carcinogenic. So we've got the highest rate of cancer ever. It used to be 1 out of 25 100 years ago. Now it's almost 1 out of 2 people get some type of cancer in their lifetime. I love America, and I love the American dream, but there's a little bit of a uh-oh. Now, so when you see organic food these days, or something that's environmentally friendly, it might not be perfect. I laugh when I think about environmentally friendly cars, okay? We got a long ways to go before we can make a real one, but it's a start. Organic growing is a start. Environmentally friendly cars is a start. Recycling is a start. And one of the main reasons to do all these things is to stop giving ourselves cancer. And using glass instead of plastic, it's a start. Okay, we got to just start to turn it around. I know it's a big deal, but every little thing we can do is helpful. But cancer's killing us. If it isn't heart disease, it's cancer. And the third thing that happens to us, if we're lucky enough to get old enough and not die of heart disease and not die of cancer, we start developing problems with our memory and senility, premature senility. It could be Alzheimer's disease. It could just be memory loss, confusion, depression and anxiety, loss of hearing and eyesight, and all the things that we call normal aging in America was also taking out those that survived heart disease and survived cancer, and somehow, missed the bullet, dodged that bullet of heart attack, stroke, circulatory disease, and dodged that bullet of cancer, but now they're 50, 60, 70, and they can't remember anything anymore. And they can't, they get depressed easier and quicker anxiety, and they're slower at thinking. The doctor, the man that went in to see his doctor, and the doctor says, I have really bad news and double bad news. The worst news is you have cancer and you only have 4 months to live. And the guy said, what else? And he goes, on top of that, you got Alzheimer's disease. And the patient said, well, thank God I don't have cancer. Anyway, the numbers, I'm not even going to go into the numbers of Alzheimer's disease. Greg sent me a great report on it, and it was so scary. I thought, if I bring that up after cancer and heart disease, we're just all going to leave here and either kill ourselves or buy Protect formula. But it's alarming when they look at the next 20 years and the millions of people in America that will literally have lost their minds, and the tens and 20s of millions of Americans that will be depressed and have anxiety and panic attacks because of the lack of circulation to our brain. Now, I know the cure for all these things. The #1 cause of heart disease and heart attacks and strokes is blockage. And the way to unblock is to thin your blood, and the best way to do that is become a vegan. But the reality is not everybody's going to do that. And I'm not selling a quick fix here. It's really how to get some more life and a little more longevity out of your loved ones, and how to protect yourself if you're not quite up to all these programs yet. Because I use this formula in my clinic too when my patients first came in, because I couldn't wait 30 or 60 days for the incurables to take a hold. I needed to protect their heart or their liver or whatever I needed to protect right away. Anyway, those are some scary death facts. But let me tell you now a little bit about the Protect formula, what's in it, and what it will do for you in an easy, simple way. The first ingredient in the Protect formula, the first place I had to think is, well, what's the #1 killer? In my clinic, I had to look at people came in. I had to look at what's going to kill my patient. And I got to put up blocks and help them not die from this. And the main thing that was going to kill my patients is what's killing every American is heart attack, stroke, circulatory disease, arterial disease, disease of the circulation, blockage of the circulation. And there's an herb that has been famous for hundreds of years, for thousands in China, for hundreds in Europe, and for a few hundred in America. An amazing herb for the heart, and it's hawthorn. And it's hawthorn berries was used originally, but now we use the leaf and the flower. And here's the magic of hawthorn that I found in one study that I researched many years ago in the clinic. And basically it was a horrible study of torturing animals, which you know we have vegan products, we never torture animals. We do try to force our products on animals, but only if they volunteer. And they took a number of dogs in China and put valves, shut-off valves in their coronary arteries, and then slowly turned the blood flow to their heart off until they had heart attacks, and then revived them afterwards. What a horrible thing. Who would do that? Anyway, here was what they discovered. That when these dogs were revived and the blood flow was turned back onto their heart, that their heart was damaged severely. It was scarred and it was hurt because when you shut the blood and oxygen off to any organ of the body, whether it be the brain, the heart, the kidney, the finger, it doesn't matter, that area dies. Cells die in a few minutes without blood and oxygen. Then they gave all these dogs hawthorn and repeated the test. And they discovered two main things when they repeated this test. One is that the dogs didn't have heart attacks when they did without the hawthorn. In fact, the dog's heart could survive on much less blood and oxygen for a much longer period of time than it could without the hawthorn. And it took a complete shutoff of the valve to give the dog a heart attack. So one of the things we know about hawthorn is that the phytochemicals, the plant chemicals in hawthorn, bind to and protect your heart cells and allow your heart cells to survive and thrive with less blood and oxygen. And if you know any old farts or any young farts in this country, relatives and loved ones, you'll see that they're being starved for blood because of what's built up in their arteries. The actual diameter of their pipes is smaller. And even if their pipes are good, their blood is so thick with fat from the American Food Program, their heart is starved for blood and oxygen. So one of the things we know about hawthorn is to let the heart survive on less blood and oxygen. The second thing they discovered when they turned the blood flow back on is that these dogs didn't have any heart damage. It was miraculous. So now we know another thing about hawthorn. When hawthorn is present, and all those beautiful phytochemicals like flavonoids are in the heart and the heart cells, the heart can survive on a lot less blood, on a lot less oxygen before it's damaged. And if you do have a heart attack, or you do have a stroke, or you do have something that would normally scar you, these chemicals won't let your heart scar itself. This is beautiful information. It's information that we should have everybody we know on a formula that could protect them from the #1 killer in America. How much of this I can say out loud in magazines or on the internet, I don't know. But this is the reality of what this one herb does. It's magical. And that's the foundation of the Protect formula. It's for the #1 killer in America. Heart disease, circulatory disease, heart attacks, strokes, arterial sclerosis, atherosclerosis, any disease of the heart, arteries, brain, blood flow. That's #1. The #2 way my patients were dying was cancer. If you talk to any great oncologist, cancer specialist, cancer researcher. They will tell you that what causes cancer in the human body is poisons, toxins, chemicals that our body can't handle and can't deal with and can't filter out. Filter's the key word here, because it's our liver's job to neutralize, render harmless, and filter out all the chemicals that come into our body through our mouth, through our nose, through our skin. Everything in our food, air, water, and the earth that could give us cancer. From additives and preservatives to paints to toxic chemicals. They say that the new car smell is over 1,000 different carcinogenic chemicals. We should be buying used cars. We're inundated. They're in our water. It's in the water. PCBs from the old transformers are in the water all over the world now. We can't get away from it. Well, there's an herb like hawthorn that binds and coats to the liver cells. That the herbs, the phytochemicals in this herb bind to and coat the liver cells and protect your liver from death and damage due to these chemicals. And keep your liver working to filter out these chemicals, therefore prevent or hold off your cells from mutating and becoming carcinogenic. Now, any good oncologist will also tell you that we all have cancer in our body every day, but we also have an immune system that eats it up. But when your immune system gets run down and your body gets overloaded with these chemicals, you develop cancer. And your liver getting weak and bombarded and overloaded and not being able to do its job is the beginning. In fact, any great oncologist will tell you that cancer starts with a weak liver. Cancer starts with a weak liver, because that's your chemical filter, friends. That's what's going to filter all these carcinogenic poisons that are in our food, water, air, earth, and environment, and keep them from getting into our body, is by your liver continuing to work. Milk thistle, and specifically the seeds and the juice from milk thistle, has been discovered to bind and coat to and protect your liver cells and keep them from damage and keep them from dying. And if your liver stays healthy, you won't ever get cancer. I don't care how bad of a family history you have. And so this is our liver protector, and this is my protection herb against carcinogenic diseases. Now, certainly I want all my patients and friends and relatives and customers to never eat anything that's carcinogenic, never touch a French fry. In fact, I just read recently that any cooked grain like bread, they're starting to say is carcinogenic. Never use plastic. Don't wear any clothes. Don't breathe. Don't eat. Shit many times a day. Get the hell out of Dodge and move to 100 miles south of Tahiti. But we all know that isn't going to happen for us or anybody else, at least right now. And so while we're growing organically and cleaning up this environment and stopping the chemical onslaught and moving into our raw food program and all of these wonderful things and moving more and having a better attitude, because we know that a bad attitude can cause cancer as fast as a popsicle, we need to do something. And one of the things we need to do is protect our liver. And that's why there's milk thistle in the formula. As I mentioned earlier, the other thing that was taking out my patients, if they were able to dodge the bullet of heart and circulatory disease and dodge the bullet of cancer and were able to get old enough, they couldn't remember why they were even there anymore. They were losing their memory. They were forgetting who they were. And of course, I saw lots of Alzheimer's disease in my clinic, lots of dementia, lots of what we would just call advanced forgetfulness and advanced memory loss, and lots of depression and lots of clinical depression where people were just so locked up, they couldn't move, they couldn't talk anymore. And lots of problems with people's eyesight and hearing as they got older. And the main reason for that was because they lacked the blood and oxygen flow to their brain. They weren't getting enough circulation to their head. And one of the greatest herbs to get circulation to your head is ginkgo biloba. And of course, that's the foundation of the brain tonic, as milk thistle is the foundation of the liver tonic, as hawthorn is the foundation of the heart tonic. But now we're talking about protecting people. So that's why I brought the hawthorn in from the heart tonic, the milk thistle in from the liver tonic, and now the ginkgo in from the brain tonic. To stop my patients from getting dementia, ginkgo increases blood and oxygen flow to the brain. So much so that the AMA has even said that it reverses brain diseases like Alzheimer's and senility, and improves the function and cognitive function of people that have already been affected with these diseases. It's a power herb, a power medicinal drug for the brain, improving the circulation, bringing in the blood and the oxygen. And you know what happens? I saw Alzheimer's disease turn around. I saw dementia turn around. I saw people that were depressed become almost manic, like me. I saw people that were anxious, their anxiety went away. It's an amazing herb. And so this was the third herb I added in to help people who were dodging the bullets of heart disease and cancer, to dodge the bullet of senility and aging and depression and anxiety and all the things that happen when you don't get enough blood to your brain. I'd love to think of my brain as a mystical organ that's just gases and something like the beginning of the Twilight Zone with the phone booth and the door flying. But the reality is when I took my first brain out of a human body and held it in my hands, that whole myth exploded. And I realized my brain was a hunk of meat. And like any hunk of meat in my body, it's only going to work as good as the quality of the blood that gets to it and the ability of those cells to eliminate waste and get the poop out of my head. That's the bottom line with every cell in your body. Nutrition in, oxygen in, waste out. And I realized that's what ginkgo does. And that makes your brain healthier and better. Now, sure, I want to add in all the other programs. Get your bowel clean, because that's where it's all going to end up. Do you know that almost in every autopsy I've seen, whether it was a patient or a relative of a patient or somebody with a brain disease, it always on the pathology report reports that there's a lot of goo in the head. Now, we can put 1,000 names to it and call it metabolites or metabolic fluid or whatever, but a lot of yellow cottage cheese snotty goo in the head. And that's what's there because you're not getting enough nutrition in and you're not getting that waste out. And ginkgo gets the nutrition in and the waste out. If your liver looks like that, it gets funky. Any organ starts getting congested with waste matter, it doesn't work. So now we have the top three for heart disease, cancer, and senility, dementia, depression, anxiety, getting that brain working. I also added to the Protect formula what I call my botanical antioxidant compound, which is 3 vitamins, beta-carotene or vitamin A, vitamin C, and vitamin A. And those are the 3 top antioxidant compounds known to man, but we don't isolate them, as you know. Our beta-carotene and our vitamin E come from palm fruit, and our vitamin C from acerola cherry. Therefore, they include everything else that's with that, that's important to have in your body. There's only one substance the American Cancer Society has ever said reduces your risk of cancer, therefore prevents cancer, therefore probably heals it, and it's beta-carotene. And did those people take beta-carotene? Absolutely not. They ate fruits and vegetables. And that's why the beta-carotene and Protect comes from fruits and vegetables. So it contains all the other carotenoids and all the other substances that the researchers didn't find. The vitamin C, one of our greatest antioxidants known. And the vitamin E, all the vitamin E on the market is just tocopherol or synthetic tocopherols. Most all the vitamin E came from company, part of the film industry. It was horrible, rancid oils. In fact, they still hold the market on this industry. And it only was a little piece called tocopherols, but not the tocotrienols, which we use. And the reason we use them is because that's what's in food. That's what's in the plants. In fact, the vitamin E that we use is not really vitamin E. We're just putting palm fruit in. But the palm fruit is so high in vitamin E, and when you look it up, it exactly mirrors the balance of vitamin E substances that are in food. Why? Because it's a food. And why antioxidants? Because antioxidants reverse aging and all the effects. We hear about free radicals, why they're so bad, why French fries are bad, why trans fatty acids are so bad that now everybody's taking them out of junk food. All they need to do is now take the rest of the food out of junk food, take the junk out of food. But it's because of the free radicals, and free radicals kill your cells. They damage your body. And what antioxidants do is kill the free radicals. You need as much antioxidants as your body as possible. They reverse aging, protect you from disease, and reverse disease. And the other compound that I put is what I call my circulation compound, which is the other herb that's the fastest at getting blood to your extremities, which is cayenne. So it works for both the heart, the liver, and the head to assist the hawthorn, the milk thistle, and the ginkgo. And the other greatest circulation herb I know, which is ginger, which goes to your extremities and brings the blood back. And I want to tell you, I know these herbs are so great because they sell them in every ski resort now as powder to take or to put in your ski boots to stop you from getting circulatory problems while you're skiing or getting frostbite, because they increase your circulation. If you doubt it, eat a hot pepper. Your face turns red. That's blood. That's increasing your circulation. So I add habaneros, the hottest cayenne we know, ginger, and garlic, which clears your blood, thins your blood, and helps your blood get around. And I call it my circulation complex. So there you have the Protect formula to protect you from heart attacks, stroke, circulatory disease, to protect you from cancer, to protect you from dementia and senility and Alzheimer's disease and loss of hearing and eyesight that comes with aging, to protect you from aging, to protect you from free radicals that kill your cells and kill you, and to increase the circulation all over your body, because if you go in the bathroom, you see that blockage is the cause of all disease, my friends. And that's really what this formula is. Is it a miracle? Well, in the sense that it buys you time, yes. Okay? Because I consider that a miracle. Because when you know you got 10 breaths left, wow, does that feel weird? And I've been there. And a few of you in this room have been there. And let me tell you, that is a wake-up call. Okay? We all know we're going to die, but we don't think about it. But when that moment comes, holy shit, you will do anything. What this formula does is keep that moment from coming longer to anyone that'll just put it in their mouth. 1 capsule in the morning, 1 capsule at night to protect you from all those horrors that I talked about. 2 capsules in the morning, 2 at night for maximum protection. Now, would I like you to follow this formula up with some advice to your friends and loved ones? Absolutely. What do I always say is the cure for all diseases known? Stop doing what you're doing that's making you sick, that caused your disease, and start doing new things that will create powerful health. So yeah, I want you to add it up with the 10,000 things that we know. I want you to follow it up with the 10,000 things that we know that will also prevent heart attacks and stroke and cancer and dementia and depression and cells from dying and old age. But if you can only do one thing, and I have friends and relatives that I only got one shot, okay? I only got one shot. This is my first shot. This is what I'm going to use first. Get it in their mouth and get those chemicals in their body protecting their heart cells, protecting their liver cells, protecting their brain, fighting off the damage from their lifestyle, and protecting them. So anyway, thank you for being here, for making this possible, and most of all, making the whole thing possible.